We're going to give thanks for the day. Just look right up to the top of page 39 in your Sidurim. Modeh ani, ladies, moda ani. How grateful we are to breathe in that fresh air and be together. Shabbat Shalom, friends. It's so wonderful to have everybody back in one space to make this place sacred with our thoughts and our prayers. It's wonderful to have our children here, our teachers, our parents. Each and every one of you brings something different and beautiful into this space. And we want to take a moment, just a very small moment. I'm going to ask three of you what beautiful thing you're bringing to this space this morning. So tell us something about yourself, something that makes you you and not somebody else, something that makes you special. What's something that makes you different than everybody else around you? Something that makes you you.
I'm double jointed.
Well, we're grateful for your double-jointedness this morning.
I like hard Legos.
And we are grateful for your passion this morning. One more. Let's get one more. Come on, tell us what makes you you. You're a twin. And so you're bringing your special half of your twin relationship into this room. I see some more. So we'll take three more. Three more. Yes. You're also a twin. Ah. You like birds. Well, thank you for bringing your love of birds into our kahal today. Last one. Yes. You respect God. Well, thank you for bringing your respect for God into this space. There's so many things that makes each one of us different and special, and we celebrate those differences. We celebrate the gift of our soul, the thing that makes us us, with our prayer, Eloheinu Shama, page 42 in our Sidurim.
Elohai, the Shema, Shanatatavi, Shanatatavi, Elohai, the Shema, Shanatatavi, Shanatatavi. Tehoani, Tehoani. You created me. You shaped me. You breathe me into life. You created me. You shaped me. Neshama Shanata Tabi Shanata Aloha Neshama Tabi Shanata Tabi Tehoani
So we have so many things to be grateful for this morning. Just as each and every morning, our rabbis of old, about 1,500, 1,600 years ago, decided that would be a good idea to give a blessing, to say a blessing for all the many miracles we experience every day. But in the 1,500 years that have passed, maybe we've had a few ideas, some other miracles that have come into our lives. And so we're going to have some friends of ours. We're going to have Tyson and Isaiah and Gunnar and Aaron come up and share some of the blessings that they experience each day to help us think about all the blessings we have. Friends, in order for this to really be meaningful, we need something from everybody. So students, we need you to give your attention and be supportive, because when our friends are sharing their thoughts with us, they can see one of two things. They can either see us listening and thinking, or they can see us talking to a friend, or maybe playing with our thumbs, or maybe looking up in the air like this, and that wouldn't feel so good, would it? No. So let's try for the first. And parents, when our children are up here, they can see probably one of two things too. They can either see us looking and appreciating what they have to say, or they can see us doing one of these where we're sort of moderating the experience through one of those technological devices. I'm guessing you know which one they want to see as well. So let's give our attention to our friends who are here to help us pray this morning. Thank you so much.
When I sing Nasim B'chol Yom, I think about the daily miracles that God does for us. I think the most important one is I wake each morning to begin a brand new day. I'm happy because each day is like a fresh start. Each new day, I get to go to school and learn new things. If I wasn't very good yesterday, I have another chance to be better today. I get to try everything all over again and do better at it. I get to improve myself in many areas like sports, schoolwork, video games, and my behavior. When I wake up each morning, I enjoy walking outside and seeing the beautiful earth. I don't like to see it when there's a lot of trash around. That's what I think about when I sing Nasim B'chol Yom.
When I sing Nisim B'Kol Yom, I think about the daily miracles that God does for us. I think the most important one is you have given me freedom. I think this is important because if I didn't have freedom, then I would be a slave. If I was a slave, I would not make any money, even though I had to work all night, day and night. If I was a slave, I would not get to see my family a lot. It's good to be free so I can go home and rest after school and have good meals. I'm happy that I'm free to choose my own friends and play with them. I am free to grow up and choose what job I want to do. For example, I can be an architect when I grow up, or I can be president. I'm happy to be free because I have choices in my life. I'm proud that I live in a country that has freedom for everyone. That's what I think about when I sing Nisim B'Kol Yom.
Okay.
When I sing the Simba Kol Yom, I think about the daily miracles that God does for us. I think the most important one is that you give our people courage. I think that it is important because God gave the Jewish people courage to leave Egypt in a big hurry. If they didn't have courage, we would still be slaves today. God gave the Jewish people courage to fight a war. Judah the Maccabee had the courage to stand up to fight the king, to stand up to the king and fight to get the temple back. We, the Jews, have courage to follow a religion even when it's hard. Sometimes you can be upset, but God gives us courage to do what's right. One time I had to make a music video. I didn't want to do it, but my parents said that I had to, so God gave me the courage to do it, and it was fun. That was what I think about when I sing the Simba Kol Yom.
When I sing the Nisbom Yom, I think about the daily miracle that God does for us. I think the most important one is I wake each morning to begin a brand new day. I think that's important because if we didn't wake up, we would still be rolling around in bed. If we were in bed all day, then we can't go to school and learn or go to work. We wouldn't be able to fix our mistakes from the last day. I like that I have a chance to fix my mistakes and do better every day. I will try not to fight with my brother, but if I do, I know that I will have the chance to do better the next day. If I annoy my parents, I know that I could do better the next day. It is important to wake up to begin a brand new day so that we have a chance to learn and fix our mistakes. That is why I picked this, and that's what I think about when I sing the Nisbom Yom.
So our friends are going to lead us in song. Hallelujah Nafshi, a song of praise, can be found on page 47 in our Sidurim, page 47. So we're ready for our prayer service in earnest. And in order to help us get ready, we're going to invite Charlize, Justin, and Jordan to introduce for us our Baruch Hu prayer and welcoming light into our world.
I sing the Yotze or I think about how I can bring light to the world. I can help out by cleaning up after my baby brother. He always plays with his toys and leaves a big mess behind. I want the world to look beautiful and bright. I can pick up litter from the ground and put it in the trash can. I can help my mom when she's having a hard time. She tries to change my baby brother's diaper, but he keeps on moving around. I entertain him so my mom can get done quickly. I can help my dad by organizing his desk in his office. He works very hard like an orthopedic surgeon. Since he is so busy, he leaves a lot of things on his desk, so it gets messy. I help him by putting everything away. I can do lots of mitzvahs and help lots of people. These are some ways I can bring light to the world.
כשאני שר יוצא אור, אני חושב על דרך להביא אור לעולם. When I sing the יוצא אור, I think how I can bring light to the world. I can clean up trash that I see on the floor. I will throw it in the trash can. If it's paper, cardboard, plastic, or glass, I will throw it in the recycling bin. When I grow up, I will probably buy an electric car so it doesn't make as much pollution in the air. I will also encourage people to stop smoking, vaping, and using drugs. I will tell people to stop driving motorcycles because they are very dangerous. I will try to protect animals. People should be kind to animals because they're our friends. I will try to convince people to not kill animals to eat. These are some ways I can bring light to the world.
When I sing the Yortze or I think about how I can bring light to the world, I can give money to the homeless people. I'll remember to bring tzedakah every Friday. I will donate it to the Ocean Park Community Center. The people there don't have money for food, clothes, and shelter. I will also bring silver for the people who are hungry and don't have enough food to eat. I will water the plants so the earth will look greener. There will be more oxygen and carbon dioxide so the air will be better to breathe in. אני עזרא זרעים ואשתול פרחים כדי שיהיו גינות יפות. I will plant seeds and flowers so there will be beautiful gardens. I will especially grow fruits trees so our earth will have plenty of delicious fruits to eat. These are some ways I could bring light to the world.
Lie, lie. Teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. And we will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto, Leolam V'ad.
Thank you. Please have a seat. And before we begin our Ve'ahavta prayer, we're going to invite Jade, Ethan, and Liana to share some thoughts with us so that we can better learn how to show our love for God and for our tradition.
When I recite the Ve'ahavta, it reminds me that I should love God with all my heart and with all my soul. It also reminds me of the mitzvot that we are commanded to do, such as putting up a mezuzah on your door and reciting the Shema in the morning and at night. These mitzvot remind me to be mindful of my behavior and to be a mensch. By being a mensch, I can make a big impact on my family, friends, and even my neighbors by being loyal and trustworthy. At school, I can be patient while waiting in line or when I raise my hand in class to share my thoughts. These are all the ways I could show my love to God by following God's commandments. I hope to teach my children and grandchildren one day. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha.
When I sing the Ve'ahavta, it reminds me that God is always on my side and that these words remind me that God will always be holy. The Ve'ahavta is a reminder to love God with all my soul and heart, to follow all God's commandments, and to place a mezuzah on my doorsteps and gates.
This prayer also reminds me of doing mitzvot for others and being respectful, loving, and caring. These are all signs of kindness. Finally, the Ve'ahavta reminds everyone that God will be in the most safest spot in the whole world. The place is in your heart. The heart represents peace and love, and this is God's home. This is what I think about when I sing the Ve'ahavta.
Every Friday when I recite the Ve'ahavta, remind me to follow God's 10 commandments and to love God. There are many ways to love God. One way you can love God is by placing mezuzah on your doorpost. Another way you can show love towards God is by working hard in order to succeed. One way you can succeed is when you are playing a sport like basketball. When I'm playing basketball, I focus on practicing my dribbling and shooting skills. A third way I can show my love towards God is by reciting the Shema and Ve'ahavta every day and night. Finally, the Ve'ahavta reminds me to always be present when I come to Y School.
Thank you so much, friends. Our friends are going to lead us in the Ve'ahavta prayer, which you can find on page 51 of your Sidurim. Page 51.
אהבת את אדוני אלוהיך וכל עושך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושבתך לבבך ותפילתם בשבתך ובביתך ובבתך ובדרך ובשפתך ובבניך ותפתם מאוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך ובתרתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם מצרים ושבטים בצריכם אני אדוני אלוהיהם אשר עשיתי אתכם בארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיהם אדוני אלוהיהם.
Next we have our Song of Freedom. Can you guys lead us in musical?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. A warm thank you to our Clay Kodesh. We're going to continue with our Amidah prayer. We're going to have a silent Amidah this morning. You're going to choose the words, but the prayer begins on page 55 and goes to page 65. We're going to sing that first line at the top of 55 together. So I'm going to invite you all to please rise, and we'll sing. Adonai page 64.
Sim shalom.
Tova uvracha, cheva chesed v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Sim shalom.
Peace is sharing.
Tova uvracha.
Peace is giving your mom or dad a hug. Peace is sharing your snack. Peace is listening to your teachers. But more than anything, peace starts with us, right here in this very room, with our hearts, with our choices, to put peace in this world.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. It's good to see you. I hope you all had a wonderful winter vacation, winter break, since I haven't seen you. I would like to start off by telling you a little bit of a personal story that relates to this Torah portion this week. So every first-year rabbinical student of the Hebrew Union College, which is the Reform Movement's seminary, rabbinical school, has to go live in Israel for a year. Now, that seems like an incredible opportunity, and it was. I loved it. But you know, there were some certain parts of my life that I had to leave behind here in the United States for an entire year. Two of them being some of my very best friends, my dogs. I had to leave my dogs with my parents for an entire year, and it was devastating for me because, you know, they're members of the family. But I couldn't bring them to Israel. So while I was living in Jerusalem, I met this wonderful family. They grew up in America, but they made Aliyah and lived in Israel. And they spoke Hebrew within their house, but also were very fluent in English. Now, my Hebrew was not very good. Let's just say it was probably on about a preschool Israeli level. So I really couldn't get around, but I could say the very basics. And I'll never forget the first time I went to their house. And they had a huge, beautiful backyard, and they had a golden Labrador retriever, a dog. And I was so excited because it reminded me of my dogs who were at home. And so I see the dog playing over there in the corner of the backyard. I'm like, "Come here, doggy, come here." And he didn't turn around. And I was so upset. "Doggy, come here, come on, come on." Nothing. So, all right, I guess the dog just wasn't interested in me, and that's fine. Well, about a month later, and living in Israel and realizing that, a lot of people spoke English, but it was still hard to get around had I not learned a little bit of Hebrew. And I realized when I went back to these people's house the next week, the dog doesn't speak English. So I knew how to say dog, and I knew how to say, the basic command for, come here. So I said, "Kalev, bo." And sure enough, he wagged his tail and ran over. And it was so exciting. But I realized, okay, I think this is how I need to live my life here in Jerusalem to get the most out of the experience. So I learned Hebrew. I took an Ulpan class, and I tried, and I spoke Hebrew to everybody that I possibly could. And let me tell you, it was ugly a lot of the time. Some people laughed at me. Some people said, "Oh, you American." And then they just reverted to speaking English because my Hebrew wasn't so good. But I faced my fear and got better and got better. And by the time my Hebrew was really pretty good, it was time to go back to the United States in May. Now, there are two things that can relate to this week's Torah portion. Anybody know the name of this week's Torah portion? What is it? Just say it. Bo. So when I said kelef bo, what does bo mean? Come, right? Coming from the Hebrew, the infinitive lavo, which means to come, right? Now, in this week's Torah portion, it starts with bo lefaro. Come or go to Pharaoh. Go to Pharaoh. Who should go to Pharaoh? Moses. And why should Moses go to Pharaoh? Yeah, not to free the Egyptians, but to free who? The Israelites. Free them from slavery. Bo, in this case, means go, and it means come, all at the same time. But what was interesting about this, that kind of relates to my story, is, can you imagine every single time Moses went up to Pharaoh to say, "Let my people go," what did Moses say? Or what did Pharaoh say? No, 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 I will not let them go. Right. And so the second time, what happened? He said, "No, no, no, I will not let them go." And then the third time, and all these plagues were happening. Soon, oh my gosh, the Nile River, it was red, and there were locusts, and the cows were having some issues. It was a whole mess. It was a whole mess. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened each and every time. He was a stubborn ruler, a stubborn ruler. But every single time after this that he kept saying, "No," how do you think Moses felt? Every single time Pharaoh just said, "No, no, no." How do you think he felt?
He felt more and more mad.
He felt mad. Why do you think he felt mad?
Because he wasn't letting the Jews go.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. More determined. Absolutely. So we have some frustration, we have some anger, but we also have some determination and a desire to make things right. And by the 10th plague, which we won't go into, of what that 10th plague is, however, it was the straw that broke the Egyptian camel's back. Right? And so Pharaoh finally said, what? Go, pray to your God, and go free. And Moses finally did what God had hoped he would be able to do. Freed the Israelites to go on their journey to the sea and eventually into freedom. Now, what is so hard about this is facing a fear is an incredibly hard thing to do. Just like I had to do with learning Hebrew. But in the end, it certainly made me better. It made me a better Hebrew speaker. And believe me, I was afraid to talk to Israelis who would think that I wasn't good at speaking Hebrew. Has anybody had a situation that they might want to share where they were feeling fearful about doing something even though it would be for the better good ultimately? Yeah.
I visited my cousins for the first time in Israel, and I couldn't speak to them in Hebrew, so I was trying, and I kept trying, and I finally started to do it.
Yeah, so you were a lot like me with the speaking of the Hebrew with your cousins. Anybody over here? Yeah.
I felt scared when I was supposed to go inside like a haunted house, but I knew that it would make me better and not fearful.
Okay, so maybe overcoming fears by just jumping into the deep end, right? Anybody else? Yeah. Being in Clay Kodesh in a service. It's sometimes scary to get up in front of people, but so many of you, actually all of you that I see, just do an absolutely amazing job. Let's do one more. Yeah, going on stage for theater. But they all make us better somehow deep inside every single time we do it. And the same thing went for Moses. He knew that he had to keep going back to Pharaoh. He knew that coming to Pharaoh each and every time was the right thing to do for the Israelites, even when he kept being told no. So my friends, ambition, determination is a wonderful way to get past your fear. And it's okay to feel fear. But so, just like Moses in this week's Torah portion, when you see something you might be a little afraid of, when you see something that might be a little challenging, remember, come and go. Shabbat Shalom. All right, everyone. It was great to be here with all of you. How good it is, let's sing it. Umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. Hine matov. Umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. Hine matov. Umanayim sheberachim gam yachad. Hine. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you to our Clay Kodesh and to our parents and families for being here. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together.